Ruby, thanks so much for joining us today. To begin, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
My name is Ruby Bishop. I play wheelchair tennis for Great Britain, and I have a campaign to battle against discrimination within education and sport.
That's really cool. Do you mind sharing a little bit about what disabilities you have?
I have cerebral palsy, complex regional pain syndrome, ADHD and dyslexia.
What first motivated you to start speaking up about inclusion within education and sport?
I think growing up I faced a lot of barriers, especially in education. Once I left school I realised what I had experienced wasn't right, and it really stuck with me, and I wanted to make a change and make sure that no other person felt the way I did in school.
That's such a strong motivation, and sport clearly plays a huge part in your life. What's your favourite thing about it?
I think travelling, being able to do something I love and be able to call it my job is pretty cool. I've had some amazing opportunities, and yeah, I'm very grateful to be an athlete.
You train at the National Tennis Centre, which must be a pretty inspiring environment. What's that experience like?
Yeah, training at the National Tennis Centre in London is crazy. The facilities are great, and you're training alongside some of the best athletes in the world. It's pretty surreal being on court next to Andy Murray and in the physio room with Emma Raducanu. To be there and be with them is super motivating, and it's a great professional environment.
Let's talk about school life a bit more. What were the most challenging things about using a wheelchair at school?
I think using a wheelchair at school is pretty hard. Accessibility was challenging. I think things that people probably don't even think about in their day-to-day life were harder for me. For example, science tables are double the height of a normal table. For me, obviously, I was lucky enough to be able to transfer onto the seat, but not everyone can do that. Disabled toilets, you needed a staff key to be able to access. And there were just some buildings that weren't wheelchair accessible at the time. I know now they are wheelchair accessible, and that's great. Some things are better late than never, but yeah, physically they were the challenges, and I think mentally as well, being in a wheelchair at school is difficult. If your friends don't understand why you're using a wheelchair, it can be hard.
That must have been really challenging, and yet sport seems to have played a huge role in changing that mindset. Do you think tennis has made you a stronger advocate?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think tennis has helped me be a better advocate and campaigner, being able to travel the world and competing, and you learn so many different life skills. I think I'm pretty resilient, and through tennis I've been able to work with some amazing athletes and charities that have been a great support for my campaign.
Was there a teacher at school who really made a difference for you? If so, what made them different?
Yeah, I think there were definitely a couple people that went above and beyond. The head of inclusion and the head teacher were supportive of me at school, and I feel like I had a good relationship with them. I feel like a lot of people knew of me at school, or they knew I could wear trainers, they knew I was disabled, but only they both truly really knew me. And yeah, I think I'm really grateful for the support that they gave me at school.
It sounds like you had some good experiences, but did you ever face bullying because of your disability?
Yeah, I think unfortunately I did. It started pretty early on in year 7 and 8. I was added to group chats by girls, and I think I probably had a bit of an easy target on my back. I spent a lot of the time in the SEND department, didn't really venture out, but I experienced that, and then I decided I didn't want to be known as just a disabled kid, so I got a new group of friends, and that kind of stopped. And it was all good for a while, and then unfortunately the boys started similar comments. Eventually I actually went back and told the head of inclusion, and he dealt with it very well, and it stopped for a while, but then it started again in year 11, and I think by that point I was just used to it. So I did experience it, but I don't think it defined me at school.
Can you pinpoint the moment you realised you wanted to create change?
Yeah, I feel like for me there was lots of little things that I experienced in school that didn't feel right, but there was not a lot I could do about it. For a start, the accessibility issues with the buildings that weren't wheelchair accessible. The language used towards me and other disabled students I didn't think was correct. And now, as I'm older, I know that was wrong, and I think everything that happened at school motivates me to want to make change, want to promote inclusion within education and ensure no other child goes through what I went through.
You've done a lot of campaigning for more inclusive PE lessons. How have teachers and schools responded so far?
Yeah, it's been great. I've been really lucky enough to go to lots of different schools across the country and work with the PE teachers, work with the SEND department, and it's great to see the impact of my campaign raising awareness and making them teachers think differently about how they speak to people. And yeah, that's what it's all about. It's about raising awareness and ensuring no other child is left out of PE.
That's really great progress. Have you had a chance to speak to any of your old teachers about what you're doing now?
No, I haven't spoke to any of my old teachers. I'm waiting for my invitation.
If you could redesign PE from scratch, what changes would you make?
I think for me, I would make adaptive equipment standard in a PE cupboard. I'd love to see a sports wheelchair ready and waiting for somebody to use. The different VI equipment that would be good for people that have got a visually impairment. And I think more teacher training and a bit of a mindset shift between the PE teachers. I feel like PE should be about participation, not about perfection.
That's such an important perspective. How do you think being included in sport affects someone's confidence and well-being?
I think it's everything. I feel like if they're included in sport in school, they're going to feel happier within that environment. If you're not included, then you're singled out, you're made to feel different, and you don't need to feel like that. Sport can give you so many more life skills that are important. PE is more than just a match, and I feel like that's what matters. So if you can help include somebody, then you need to do that.
You've faced a lot of challenges, but you've turned them into something really positive. What advice would you give to other young people dealing with discrimination or exclusion?
I feel like it's easier said than done, but don't let it define you. It can be really hard in the moment, but things will get better. And I feel like for me, I was told quite often that I wasn't academic enough for certain things, or I wasn't good enough. But actually, I am. It's about the environment, and if I can do it, you can do it. Don't let anyone tell you that you can or can't do something. You can do whatever you put your mind to.
If you could speak directly to every PE teacher in the UK, what message would you want to share?
Inclusion matters. Speak to your students, find out what you can do to help, have that conversation. I never had that conversation, and I think it's vital for any success that you communicate. Their experience in PE is a lot more than what you think, and watch my campaign video.
One last question, would you ever consider becoming a teacher yourself?
I think never say never, but for now I'm going to focus on my tennis career, and I really enjoy working with young people and children and helping them in their education, so yeah, maybe.
Ruby, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. It's so inspiring to see how you've turned challenge into change.